So I was asking my buddy John the other day for an idea on what to do to celebrate 800 subscribers, and he said duel all of the main protagonists using Chumley's deck. So that's what we're doing here. Non-copyright music in the background because edopro has copyrighted music. This is going to be Chumley's deck. There's not a lot of monsters that he plays. He does have access to the tree and sea koala, even though those, weren't in his anime deck. I forget what medium gave him these monsters. I'm using the anime versions of all the different cards, unless in a more recent episode they used a different version, and we'll cover that shortly. The one thing that I decided to add, because most of these cards he did play, the one thing I decided to add is Fusion Draft, because this whole deck is literally summon big koala or make a fusion. That's all this thing does. That's the whole deck. It's just beast type beat down, and then rescue cat, because both of the materials for koala are searchable off of it. Now, as for how the protagonist decks work, obviously all the different protagonists have cards that are significantly more powerful than what Chumley would have access to. So, one, you can only play the same number of copies that the character was shown using. Two, they have to have a minimum of 45 cards in their deck. Three, they have to use a version of the card that is most recent to it being played. So, for example, with the spell Magical Dimension, it had the most recent time that it was used in the show has its real life trading card game effect. Tribute a monster on your field, special summon a spellcaster from hand, you can destroy a monster. But originally, when it would be played, you had to tribute 2 monsters on your field, and you could only do it in response to one of your spellcasters being attacked, and it didn't destroy an enemy monster. Instead, it destroyed whoever you summoned. And then lastly, I'm going to genuinely try to make these decks as strong as I can within these parameters that I'm given. Obviously, a lot of these tribute monsters outside of Big Koala, Chumley can't really deal with, especially not if Yugi were able to summon a god card. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Even though I am playing the Poker Knights, Yugi didn't play the Arcana Knight Joker in the anime. That was actually a manga card. So hence why it's not here, just keeping things canon that way. One thing that I'm doing is trying to make sure that these decks are specifically strong against Chumley's deck, and Dimension Reflector is one example of this. Normally, I would never want to put a card like this in Yugi's deck because it banishes 2 monsters on your side of the field. But since Chumley's whole thing is going to try to be summon a big monster and attack with it, Dimension Reflector summons a copy of that monster and then burns your opponent equal to its attack points. So if you're trying to swing on me with a 4200 Big Koala, or Master of Oz, excuse me, you're gonna get hit with 4200 burn in response. Now, Jaden is running a 50 card deck, and that's because 1, there's a lot of draw potential, and 2, I don't want to open too many Neospatians in my hand because I would just automatically lose. Some interesting cards that he's going to be playing here are Special Hurricane, because Chumley isn't going to be very likely to just tribute summon a Big Koala. He's going to special summon all of his huge beast cards, so that's where Special Hurricane comes in handy. We have the Mirage of Nightmare in order to really turbo through his deck every single turn. He might not even necessarily need to get rid of a card like this. Card Ejector can be nice because if a Big Koala does manage to get into the grave, or God forbid Master of Oz, a Card Ejector can banish it before it can be revived with Ayers Rock Sunrise, which is the same sort of logic with Heroes Rule 1. I haven't forgotten the one episode against Jinzo where Jaden actually played Solemn Judgment. And then since Ayers Rock is such a staple of Chumley's deck, we have Heroes Rule 2 to negate a card that targets something in the graveyard. Then part of why I'm going with the Neo strategy is because we have access to burn, boosting our own attack power, taking advantage of life point differentials if we do get hit a couple of times. And while we don't have a lot of pure elemental hero fusions, we do have cards like Shaman and Dark Bright who can just remove a monster. Now, Yusei here is a little bit interesting with a 46 card pile. While the main monsters don't really have too many threats, he has a lot of things that are going to be problematic for Chumley to have to try to overcome. One example is going to be the turret warrior, who could very easily, especially if Yusei manages to get a synchro first, overpower anything that Chumley sets up on his field. You have defensive threats like Fortress Warrior and Shield Wing, who could really wall out Chumley, since aside from his tribute monster, he doesn't have a lot of offense that he can rely on. And with level 1 tuners in this deck, and Big Koala being a level 7, Synchro Material can steal that in order to make a Stardust Dragon. Plus, we have other small outs like Power Frame and Zero Force that are going to adjust the stats of monsters on the field in order to cheese out a win there. All of that, of course, is without going over what the extra deck is capable of. So another deck that was designed to have a very good chance up against our competitor. Now we're leaning more into hyper aggressive decks. Yuma being the balance between offense and defense here. He has a lot of different number monsters, and that by itself could easily wall out Chumley for the entire game, since they can't be destroyed by battle, and Chumley doesn't actually run any cards that destroy an opponent's monster. So if Yuma summons a number monster, that might be game. But he doesn't even necessarily need to rely on that, because he has his own attack boosting cards. He has multiple cards that can destroy a card on the field, and he has plenty of ways to stall, protect, prevent, and negate. Then if, and only if, Chumley makes it all the way through the gauntlet, we have to deal with Playmaker, who is all gas, no brakes. 23 monsters in the lineup, and half of them can special summon themselves or another card. We have all sorts of annoying spell cards whose effects also range from searching several cards out of your deck per turn, destroying cards on the field, making monsters very difficult to kill, and making monsters very easy to run over. Then if that wasn't enough, we have several demons in the extra deck of Playmaker, with Cyber's Quantum Dragon being able to just bounce monsters back. You have the pre-errata Firewall Dragon that ended up on the ban list, and then you have Access Code Talker. And now that you've gotten a sneak peek of what Chumley's up against, here's how those duels went. All right, first in the gauntlet is obviously Yugi. I was flipping coins in order to determine who was going to be going first, and we see that Chumley starts with the Fusion Draft, putting a copy of Big Koala in the graveyard in order to search for a koala and a kangaroo. He sets the Eucalyptus Mole and passes. Yugi has a really interesting hand, and he chooses not to start off with the Graceful Charity here. I say he, it's me. I'm controlling both of these characters. So I was trying to save as many spell cards as I could once I saw that we had the Skilled Dark Magician in hand, so that I could, maybe pitch this as one of my discards and then just revive it back. Ultimately, based off of what I drew, I ended up deciding to keep it, because I forgot that the anime Electro Turtle can only use its effect at the same turn that it was sent to the graveyard. Regardless, we have the Monster Reborn, so now Yugi has stolen the Big Koala, and the Skilled Dark Magician is at 2 counters now. We see Ultimate Offering hit the board. Yugi used it once, I think, in the Pyramid of Light movie. So now he has extra normal summons, and he has the trap card that helps unbrick his hand by giving him enough fodder to constantly normal summon into his different tributes. The Eucalyptus Mole is destroyed, and here I decided, you know what? The 2 big koalas have to go ahead and suicide. Gazelle swings into a Nimble Momonga, so Chumley's life points are going to be untouched this turn despite all of the amazing offense. In fact, he actually has 10,000 points now. Moving on to turn 5, he does top deck the Polymerization in order to make the Master of Oz, 4,200 points. That's the 3rd counter though, so the Skilled Dark Magician has to die here. We see Tree Otter hit the field and use its effect to give Master of Oz an extra 1,000 points. And keep in mind the life points here, 7,500, right? We're gonna see something very interesting happen. The Nimble Momonga gets flipped face up, and then the big March of Animals comes down, giving all of the beast monsters 200 for everyone on the field. So this is a 600 point boost. And now the last card in Chumley's hand, the Wild Nature's Release. So Master of Oz's 3,700 defense points are going to be added to his 5,800 attack points for a grand total of 95. He attempts to swing into the obnoxious Celtic Guardian, because then all 3, no, maybe just 2, multiple monsters would be able to attack it after this. But Yugi's going to use the Ultimate Offering to pay another 500 to tribute set the Dark Magician to get 2 of the bodies off of the field. Unfortunately, even with his strongest remaining monster being at 19, that is enough for an OT. Well, 400 short, but you get it. Seeing that Monster Reborn take the big koala, genuinely did not think that Chumley was going to make it out of here. And Jaden has a equally very interesting hand. We have 2 sets and a Glow Moss. So the difference here is that when the opponent reveals whether their top card is a monster, spell, or trap, they don't have to draw that card. They can put it back and make Jaden throw away the top 2 cards of his deck instead. Pot of Greed on this side, and then a Fusion Draft. Get used to seeing that. The big koala and the Desk Kangaroo, because the polymerization was already in hand, and Jaden says no, Solemn Judgment, because you know we can't allow the Master of Oz to resolve. If you manage to actually swing, I'm gonna fucking die. So that's what we're working with here. We're gonna see that the follow-up play is just set a monster and pass, and play so nice that I did it twice. Glow Moss is going to actually attack, and Jesus Christ, Heart of the Cards. It was a spell card, so Glow Moss gets a direct attack. Unfortunately for him, that was the strongest spell card in Chumley's deck. Diane Keto here, it's in the deck just because Chumley actually played it. The Tree Otter attempts to trigger the Glow Moss, and Chumley decides to send the top 2 cards of deck. So there goes Dark Panther, and more importantly, the Mirage of Nightmare, which helps unbrick the deck and, you know, just run through all of their cards. Yubel is really interesting because if we have the opportunity to activate the Special Hurricane, Monster Reborn is in hand to revive it, and then the anime Yubel can swing into opponent's monsters. You know, this is before all of the support was needed. Desk Koala gets flipped over for some burn damage, so now Jaden's sitting at 2400. Glow Moss reveals a spell card, so unfortunately he fails here, and now that it's revealed that he's failed, Chumley uses the big March of Animals to push for extra damage. The Desk Koala has 2500 now, also because of that play, so it's big enough to swing over the Clayman, and then both of them get tributed for the big Koala before we see a polymerization using another big Koala in hand, so we have both of them on the field, Big Koala and Master of Oz. For Jaden's turn, this is where he decides to activate the Special Hurricane. Really unfortunate about the Disgraceful Charity, but it is what it is. Monster Reborn is going to steal that Master of Oz so that he can destroy Chumley's Koala. He's at 7,200 life points to Jaden's 11, but the field tells a very different story of what's going on here. Skyscraper, very unfortunate that he can't use that. He has a Dead Miracle Fusion too. Eucalyptus Mold brings out the final copy of Big Koala. Here, Chumley summons Tree Otter to boost it by 1000, and then he uses both copies of Wild Nature's Release, getting this Koala to 7,700, and that is game. I am stunned that he's made it this far. Partially. I mean, Jaden does have a very, very bricky deck, but can he get over the defensive juggernaut that is Yusei Fudo? We're gonna find out. He uses tuning, he throws away a trap card off the top of his deck, summons Max Warrior with a respectable 1800, and then passes turn. And Fusion Draft is doing so much for Chumley, man. My goodness. He pitches the Scapegoat out of all things because he decides, you know what, I do want to keep the Nimble Mwanga in hand. So same old play here. We're going to get the Koala setup and the polymerization for the Master of Oz, plus the Eucalyptus Mole. And here is the high IQ play, right? Eucalyptus Mole with 300 is going to swing into the Max Warrior. Not only does this summon a big Koala, but Max Warrior destroying a monster triggers his own effect, cutting his stats in half. So at 1900, the big Koala can swing over for 18, making room for Master of Oz to hit directly, so that's a grand total of 6,000 points of damage. That Yusei is down to 2k. He throws away the Bree Synchron in order to special summon the Quick Draw Synchron. Normal summon Synchron Explorer to revive the Bree Synchron he just discarded. Uses the Explorer and the Quick Draw in order to make Nitro Warrior with 2,800, respectable. And then he swings over the big Koala before setting and passing turn. For Chumley's turn, of course, he's going to just attack with the Master of Oz. He's not going to summon anything yet so that he can potentially put a monster face down in main phase 2 if things go wrong, and unfortunately they do go just a little bit wrong here because Trust Chain is activated. So Trust Chain is going to target Nitro Warrior, who has 28, and then he's going to gain the attack of every single monster on the field currently. So he has 5,600, destroying the Master of Oz in a wicked counterpunch. However, due to the effect of Trust Chain, that monster, or any synchro monsters really, cannot declare an attack. We see Necrolinker get normal summon and sack itself off to revive the quick draw Synchron. 3 Synchron gets switched into attack position now, using its 1500 to attack into the Momonga, so Chumley's back up to 6,000 life points. And then Trust Chain at the end of the battle phase is gonna blow itself up so that next turn, Yusei has the ability to attack with it. Not only this, but with the Momongas face down, when he destroys a monster in battle, Nitro Warrior can force a defense monster into attack mode and then attack a second time into that specific monster. So Chumley needs a really good play here. He activates the Graceful Charity that he just top decked, and that gets him the Ayers Rock Sunrise for the Master of Oz, and that's game. This is really concerning now. Chumley's going first, T-sit pass, you know, he learned that at the academy, and this is bad news for him. Yuma started the duel with the Bull Blader. Any monster that Bull Blader is involved in battle with will be destroyed at the end of the damage calculation. I don't know what he does about this, because like I said, Chumley doesn't have card effects that destroy monsters, or I don't believe he does. I know I'm saying this and I built the deck. I work a lot. So Yuma gets a couple of free direct attacks into Chumley, bringing him to 47. Here is the Fusion Draft finally, and then the Eucalyptus Mole actually goes straight into the Tasque Knight, and this triggers not just its own effects, but the Animal Trail in order to add any beast from deck to hand. He goes for a copy of Tree Otter, and then we see Sea Koala in defense mode. Main phase 2, Polymerization comes down for the Koala, and it's going to use its effect, pitching that copy of the Tree Otter that was searched for in order to destroy a monster. So I was wrong, and Bull Blader is off the field, but Chumley's below half. Yuma's life points have been untouched, and he uses the Emperor's Armor. It's an equipped spell that allows the wearer of the armor to copy the attack of whoever they go into battle with, and then chaining that with the Impenetrable attack makes his monster not able to be destroyed by battle this turn. So only Chumley loses a monster here. He draws. He uses another copy of Fusion Draft, getting rid of the Sea Koala, so now that is both of the Otter and the Koala gone to the graveyard, so he cannot make another Koala, so obviously he's going to be searching for the Koala and Kangaroo here. Graceful Charity is going to resolve, and we see Monster Reborn come down, so here is the second Koala anyways, pitching the big Koala in hand to get rid of the Tasque Knight with its armor, so that Ayers Rock Sunrise can revive the big Koala. This is going to be gargantuan damage. Yuma has lost 5,500. He sets 2 face downs and summons the Gagaga-mancer in attack mode with only 100, and he equips it with the Gagaga Shield. So twice per turn, it can't be destroyed whatsoever. And the card on top of Chumley's deck was Rescue Cat. So it's going to send itself to the graveyard, summon 2 copies of Nimble Momonga, and they are weak enough that they can just swing over the Mancer and get through the shield. The final face down was Mirror Mail, so Gagaga Mancer is going to trade with the big Koala. Unfortunately for Yuma, with 700 life points left, Chumley still has one more monster, so he wins this duel as well. He goes on to the 5th match. All right, God, this is the worst hand ever. Chumley's up against Yuya now, Sakake Yuya, and he can't play a single card. He just ends his turn. He has a bunch of break situational cards. I promise you, I tried my absolute best to make this as playable as possible. Some of these do really pop off, but yeah, I can't do anything. Luckily for him, though, there's not a lot that Chumley can do. He's, keeping the Desk Kangaroo in hand. That way, in case he has the Polymerization, they're both here. Now that he has the Tree Otter and the Sea Koala in his hands as well, he can make any fusion monster that he wants here. He's chipping away, so Yuya's at 59, and then finally he throws down the Performapal recasting. So he can shuffle back the 2 Performapals that are in his hand and then draw 3 cards. And we're going to be speeding through this now because Yuya just got the Performapal 5 Rainbow Magician. So every monster on the field has 0 attack points, cannot attack, and cannot activate its effects. Whenever a card is played face down, the turn automatically ends. A duelist needs to somehow get 5 spells and traps face down in their back row And then the effect will be negated on their side of the field, and their monsters will have double the current attack points when that takes place, because the 5 Rainbow Magician will negate its own ability as a quick effect that both players can use. I know that's complicated. You'll eventually visually see the demonstration. On top of all of this, duelists have to skip their draw phase, and if they don't, they can't play a card face down that turn. Yeah, this is the culmination of fighting several dimensional wars, all that character progression, you know, being challenged by great duelists like Akaba Reiji constantly pushing you. It's one of the worst stall cards of all time. Honestly, what would you prefer? Anime, Rainbow Magician, or Mystic Mine? Let me know in the comments below. Timebreaker Magician is at 2,800 and Whip Snake is at 3,400 because Yuya successfully managed to get 5 spells and traps face down. However, if any of those cards leave, Rainbow Magician locks him up again. So that's something to keep in mind here. Somehow, even though he has the advantage, he has way less life points still. The Nimble Momonga is finally dead because only monsters on the field can't use their effects. So Chumley's at 9k, he has 3 monsters on board, he has 4 cards in his back row, he's patiently waiting for the 5th one so that he can finally do something, and we're just seeing this back and forth. Eucalyptus Mole summons a Death Koala because there's not a lot that Chumley wants to summon, especially because he knows that it's going to die anyways. He doesn't have a lot of targets left for an effect like this. The Light Phoenix comes down, so that's cool. He can Pendulum Summon if he gets something. During the battle phase, when a monster declares an attack, we see the effect of the Performer Pal Odd Eyes Dissolver so that she can summon herself with 2,000 points. Then Momonga once again, Dissolver destroys the final copy of such, and now Whip Snake can finally attack with 34, getting rid of all 3,000 life points that the Momongas were able to accrue. Dissolver uses its effect, fusing herself with one of the Pendulum Zones, being the Light Phoenix, so that Yuya can make the Performer Pal Gatling Ghoul. Really going to take advantage of these back row cards here. On Fusion Summon, the opponent takes 200 burn damage for every single card on both players' side of the field, so Rainbow Magician just turned into the most toxic stall burn ever. 2,800 direct damage that way, and then we see Perform Pal Guard Dance get activated, but its effect doesn't matter. Yuya was just making room to play a face down card, and now that he's done that, he can negate the 5 Rainbow Magician again. So once the 5 cards are set, the values return back to what they originally were, because mind you, Rainbow Magician doubles the original attack points of these monsters, and then they get doubled again here. So now he has a 58 Gatling Ghoul that can destroy monsters and do burn. He has a 56 Time Breaker and a 68 Whip Snake that can switch monsters' attack and defense stats. Chumley finally has his 5th face down card, but again, when you set a card, you have to end his turn. I believe this was a misplay of mine. I believe I could have responded with Rainbow and negated its effect so that my turn could have kept going, because I did that with Yuya at some point, but yeah, I really messed up here. Anyways, Smile Universe is going to summon the Dissolver, and Chumley gets its 2,000 attack points as life points, and that was done to make room for Magical Thunder. Throw away this Hippo Carnival in hand in order to destroy one card on the field. Instead of just getting rid of one of Chumley's cards, he doesn't have monsters on the field anyways. Bye-bye Rainbow Magician. Here's all these massive attack points, monsters on the field, and I personally don't know what happened here, but maybe it's Smile Universe. Yes, neither player can normal or special summon other monsters or attack the turn this is activated. So unfortunately, Yuya could not OTK Chumley here. He has 1 turn to respond, brother. He has 17,000 points on board right now. We see Diane Ghetto get flipped over first. Monster Reborn to summon the big koala. Okay, he's cooking something here. A monster with special summon, so Yuya gets to use Twin Big Shield on the Gatling Ghoul specifically, so that it can't be destroyed by anything twice per turn. He's protecting the Gatling Ghoul because this is the card that has the burn effect. So let's see what happens here. Normal summon the Rescue Cat, activate its effect to summon a Tree Otter and a Sea Koala, and that might be it right there. A Tree Otter is going to boost Big Koala by 1,000, and Sea Koala is going to reduce the Gatling Ghoul to 0. everybody can attack into it because it takes 3 attacks to be destroyed. Wild Nature's release on the big koala, so this one is at 57, and here at the end of the main phase is where Whipsnake uses its effect to reduce his attack all the way down to 2,000. So that's 1 attack, that's 2 attacks, and this is gonna be 3, except before he declares the final attack, Chumley flips over Beast Soul Swap. We saw this combo in Spirit Callers, guys. Big Koala goes back to the hand and then resummons itself. Guess what? It has 2,700. Yuya only has 27 life. And somehow, from the jaws of defeat, do or die with 1 turn left to his name, he pulled it off. He pulled it off. Oh, fuck, man. All right, the final duel is going to be Chumley versus Playmaker. Playmaker gets the first turn. He sets a face down and normal summons Dotscaper. Dotscaper is a level 1, so it can be linked off into the Linkoribo. I'm gonna stop doing that. That's cringe. Dotscaper hit the graveyard though, so it's gonna use its once per duel effect to summon itself, and then Microcoder will use both of those monsters plus itself in hand to summon a Code Talker. This is gonna be the Trans Code Talker here. Microcoder activates its ability since it was used for a Code Talker link summon. Playmaker gets to search for a Cynet Speller Trap, and he chooses Refresh because Refresh can destroy cards in the main monster zone. So unless Chumley, has a fusion monster and specifically plays it in the extra monster zone, he could lose everything that he has. Rescue Cat for Chumley's turn for the Tree Otter and the Sea Koala. Dangerous combo right here, and he has both the Fusion Draft and the Poly. He's getting rid of the Beast Soul Swap this time. We're going to see the Sea Koala activate first on Transcode Talker to make it 0. Poly is going to activate to summon the Master of Oz. Then Tree Otter boosts it up to 5,200. And before Playmaker takes over half of his life points and damage, Recoded Alive activates. So the Transcode Talker here is going to be banished and replaced with a different Code Talker from the extra deck. This is going to be Xcode with 23, so that he takes much less damage. That's 5,100 life points left. And then after that card dies, he can use Recoded Alive from the graveyard to summon back the Transcode that he banished. That walls out Chumley. He has no other play here, so at the end of the turn, because of Rescue Cat, both of his beast monsters die, and this is not looking good for him because he has some crazy extenders in his hand right now. So, Playmaker normal summons the Rom Claudia. Take a Cyber's monster from the graveyard and add it to the hand, and it's going to be that pesky Microcoder. Now, one-time passcode is going to summon a level 4 security token onto the field. The token and the Rom Claudia are going to link off into Security Dragon, and since it's co-linked with Transcode Talker, not only does it get a 500 boost and targeting protection, but its effect can be triggered, where because they're co-linked, he can compulse a monster, so Master of Oz leaves the field. Now we see Security Dragon and Microcoder be used for the Decode Talker, and now that's going to trigger the ability of Microcoder to search for the Cynet Codec. So from here on, anytime that Playmaker link summons a Code Talker, he can search for a Cybers of the same attribute. He can only search one of each attribute per turn. Now here's Cynet Defrag to summon a level 4 lower Cybers from the graveyard. That's going to be Rom Claudia, and Rom Claudia with the Link 3 Decode Talker make the Link 4 Access Code Talker. This is 4,600 on board, but when a monster is co-linked with Transcode, they each get 500, so they're at 28. On top of that, Access Code Talker's effect activates on summon, targeting the Link 3 Decode in graveyard. He's going to get 3,000 extra points. It doesn't matter what Playmaker searches here, because that is an OTK. So Chumley did manage to make it all the way to the end, but he lost to Mr. I have 3 reasons why I can't lose this duel. Thank you for 800 subscribers. I gotta figure out what to do for these other benchmarks now. Fuck.